Guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to ChriswithaC. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Arrma Big Rock 6S. Now, as you know, I've only managed to get one run in on this truck at the moment on the channel. And basically because the weather at the moment is just horrendous. And we're also working through the week, and long short, I go to work in the dark, I come home it's dark. So it's time to start working on the truck. Now, initially I did say I wanted to get 10 packs in. That isn't possible at the moment. We got storm after storm, bad weather. When the weekends come, I have been busy with a few other reviews, and when the time came to it, I just haven't had a chance yet. So the good news is, though, is in between that, I've actually been speaking to Vitavon. Now, I want to say a massive thank you to Arthur and the gang for obviously at Vitavon for, again, sponsoring the channel, coming up with basically ideas to upgrade the trucks and stuff like that. And, you know, massive shout out to those guys, because I really do appreciate all your support. And I hope the viewers, you know, behind the camera here, you know, in YouTube land, are enjoying seeing what you're seeing. The plan is with this truck, guys, I'm going to do a little bit of an upgrade. I'm not going to go over the top with this one. I want to try and keep this as simple as I possibly can without replacing too much and changing the characteristics of the truck. But there are a few things that I think will, once I add them onto the vehicle, are going to make it good. I don't want to go over the top. I don't want to keep adding weight. There are maybe two things that I'm going to add that add a little bit of weight to the vehicle, but it's not too much. The truck itself has performed flawlessly, honestly. When I took it out the other day, I did have the issue with the hub, but look, that was just down to a little bit of a user error, you know, so a little bit of, should we say, first use gremlins. All it was, guys, literally, when you've seen it in the last video, and I will show you in the video, it was when the mudguards are put on, there was a little nylock nut that held the hinge pin in, and had been added on the front of the mudguard and not actually to the arm. Now I've reamed that mudguard out, put a new nylock nut on, absolutely awesome. But the overall truck itself is just a phenomenal thing to drive, really, really nice. One of my favourite ground experiences that I've actually used so far. Now, there is an update coming for the ESC in this one. As you know, the new Arrma Creighton and also the Notorious has just been released. It's the same electrics package as what's in this. But apparently there's new firmware coming for the SE. So as soon as I see something and as soon as it's available, I am checking for you guys, and I will let you know. I'll do a little video on it and how to update it and what it's going to add to the vehicle. And then fingers crossed, if the weather's nice enough, we will actually be able to get out and run the vehicle. I think the best thing I can do for you here is just quickly go through some of the upgrades, all right, what they're going to send over. So what I'll do is I'll dive down in a second. We'll put all the parts on there. But I mean, long short is just a few little replacements to the truck that I think that will just give it a little bit of extra triangulated strength between the towers. They're big upgrades in the sense of what they're going to cost you, but worth doing in the same process. Now, I am going to cheat on this one a little bit, and I'll explain why in a second. So come on then, let's dive down and we'll go from there. Right, okay guys, you might be able to hear the rain in the background. It is absolutely chucking it down here, so it's a good time to wrench. So we have got the full chassis here, the 7075 chassis, absolutely beautiful. As you know, I've used a few of the Vitavon chassis and they've all held up absolutely perfect. So we've added that to the vehicle. This is going to add some strength, rigidity, and basically just overall, you know, good platform to base on. And I love what they've done here. Actually, as you can see, they've milled out every single part. They've added some strength in the center for the braces here. Just a really, really nicely designed piece of metal, that is. As you can see, the machining is top notch. Really, really nice. So just to let you know, guys, the other thing is as well is the Mojave, the Fire Team, and the Big Rock all share the same chassis. So if you've got one of the other vehicles, you'll be absolutely fine adding this on. We are going to be adding as well, as you can see here. So I've got the front chassis brace. All right, Vitavon 7075. All of it is 7075, by the way. So obviously that's going to replace the composite. We've got the rear brace here. again. So again, that's going to replace the composite. I will maybe possibly do a weight comparison for you, but I don't think it's needed really, because the chassis isn't going to be much heavier. These are adding a little bit of weight here, and the only weight I will have is at the wheels, so it's axle weight we're actually adding, so technically more stability. Now I'm not going to go with the drive shafts. I'm happy enough with the drive shafts are in there, but the main thing is here is these are 7075 knuckles. It will stop the knuckles coming off if I land awkwardly. Because the thing is, what worried me, see, and why I'm actually doing this is, when we took that tumble at Old Dusty, this truck is heavy, all right? And I could see this chassis with the composite tower braces actually bending on a big impact. And you know, I'm traveling at like 60, 70, it's not 70, 60 mile an hour, 55 mile an hour. And when that car starts tumbling, you know, it's out of control. So this chassis was definitely something that I thought was worth doing. Along with the braces, we have got some replacement parts cut off because I lost some screws in my bell crank that I already had from them. So I'm going to be adding the Vitavon bell crank. I'm going to dig that out in a moment. We've got the rear hubs as well. Now, the benefit of these is not only are they stronger, obviously, and they'll retain the pivot balls better in the front, but as I mentioned numerous times, and the funny thing is, Arrma has just actually updated it in the V6 now. They're using larger bearings in the rear. Now, why is this important? These bearings in the back of the standard hubs on anything up to the V5 were really thin. And the problem being is they had a habit when you go out of actually seizing up. So what was happening is the stub axle was essentially just sliding around on the piece of metal in here, not actually being carried by the bearing. So yeah, as you know, 7075, I love the machine quality once again. I've used these on the Typhon. I've used them on, let's have a look, I'm trying to think now, Typhon, Creighton, and also I'm going to be using them on this truck. I've used chassis on the Sledge, and you know, I've actually had their chassis numerous times, but you know, the quality of these is absolutely outstanding. All the stock parts should fit in, absolutely no problems at all, so I'm really happy there. As well as big shout out to Arrma RC, friend of mine. He actually sent me, guys, as you can see, the replacement wheel hex that I need for the rear of the vehicle. He's also sent me some scorched upper hinge pins front, so these will actually add some strength in the front end. And I was quite interested with these, as you see, flange bearings for the front Ackerman. So again, I'm going to be adding those into the vehicle, so loads of little different upgrades there. Big shout out obviously to Vitavon for allowing me to do these videos, guys. I'm going to get these onto the vehicle. Now, I'll get the car back up here. I'm going to explain in a second what I'm going to do to actually get these on there and why I'm going to make it easy for a lot of you. If you are following to do a full chassis swap, it's not as hard as you think, actually. There is a little cheating way I'm going to explain now. Right, guys, so a little bit of a cheating way. I say cheating, it's probably documented on other channels, but yeah, I'm going to show you anyway, okay? The car itself, as you can see, is in really good nick. Really good nick. I've got no issues with the way the car came from Anthony. Big shout out to Anthony for hooking me up with the car, obviously doing a little bit of a trade. But I am going to replace the chassis to make it a little bit tougher. What I'm planning on doing here, okay, is you can actually just take all the screws out of the bottom, leave all the parts this way, and then add the chassis back on. So the idea is you take the old chassis off, you remove everything you need to, leave it all in one place, and then go long, short, like that. Down and we'll go, and then you just add your screws back in. Now, whether it works like that, I don't know. I haven't done a chassis swap like that. No, I don't think I have, actually. But I know everything in the car is fine. I checked the disc before I ran it the first time. I've ironed out a few little issues here with the car. So the idea is once I get the chassis on, I'll then start concentrating on things like braces and stuff like that as we're going along. The main thing is for me to get the chassis on right this minute. Once I've done that, we'll then move on to like the hubs and the chassis braces. But yeah, guys, one other thing, I want to say a massive shout out as well to Method. They've sent me over these toolkits, guys, all right? Now, one is the nut driver and one is the wrench kit. And I have actually been using these so far, and they've been holding up tremendous. They're titanium nitride drivers, so they're really, really nicely made, as you can see. And the beauty of this is, as you can see, they have got a nice long shaft for, if you compare them to your MIPs. So getting in some really awkward places. Now I am going to test this out, all right? I'm going to continue to keep testing because I trust MIP very, very much. I haven't had any issues apart from the odd 1.5 driver actually breaking on me. But these ones, what have I used so far? I've actually done 4 cars now with these, and the actual head on the screwdriver is holding up great. So very optimistic about that, because to find another set of drivers I really like using, because I kind of settled on MIP. So it'd be interesting to see if these hold up to the same sort of use that I give them. And also, guys, one thing I never had was a set of nut drivers. No, I was using the stupid T keys that you know, Tamiya actually give you. And let me just get this out a second. I've started using these and they're very, very handy. Same thing, obviously just black coated, but really, really nicely made, and very, very handy to actually have on guard. Now, all these tools I'm getting ready, obviously, to move into the workshop. They sent them over for the purpose of review. I will do an actual video with my explanation of findings on them, but so far they've been great. Anyway, I digress. What we're going to do now, guys, is I'm going to put you on a time lapse. I'm going to start wrenching away, all right? When I find something that's interesting, obviously, to tell you, or something that I found, I will stop the video and show you. Once we've got all the parts on the car, I will then go into showing you exactly how it's been set up and where we're going to go from there. I'll see you in a sec, guys. Right, okay guys, so as you can see, all the screws I just removed. What I have done is put them in 2 little takeaway containers. I've put the 2.5mm in one and the 2mm in the other. Now, this is a good time basically to check over anything else. Now, when you're removing it, what I would suggest you is, as you see, the chassis guards will actually stay in place. All right, so tip it over and just kind of get you, I'm gonna have to take the camera off, 2 seconds. As you can see, there is one screw there, and you have this big pile of parts. Don't let that daunt you. Oh, as you can see, my gasket there needs sorting out as well. But you will have this big pile of parts here that you are gonna need to basically reattach to the vehicle. Now, I'm not too panicky right second about the chassis braces and everything. I want to get the new chassis back on. Remember that any auxiliary parts here, e.g. stuff like the rails and all that, I can add them on once the chassis is in place. But just take your time, all right? So I'm going to put you back up by here. Oops, sorry guys. There you go. Bit disorientating that, wasn't it? I would... If you've wrenched on a vehicle before, this isn't going to be too bad. But if this isn't something you've done before, just take your time. Look, you don't want to mess up any parts on the car. You know, keep an inventory of all the screws and everything, and then you should be okay. I did have a 2mm. Right, that goes in there. I kind of know which screws go where. Now, if for some reason you don't know which screw goes where, there's 2 ways of doing this. you can actually get yourself a driver and just poke it down in the hole and use your finger as a gauge, all right? When you take it back out, and then you can measure the screw thread on your driver, or get yourself your manual. And then obviously what you can actually do is in the manual, you can just offer the screw up to where the screw's meant to be. You've kind of remembered which screws go where anyway. That's, you know, just how I am. So that is the chassis completely off there, as you can see. There's a chassis. These side rails, I'm going to be putting back on once the chassis is in place. Right, back onto a time lapse. Guys, it's just taking a minute here just to show you how beautiful this chassis is. I have started screwing some screws in. Now, the other thing to mention, I've got the old chassis down by there. That is actually, I've just measured it with the vernier calipers, is 2.3, all right? Whereas this one is actually 4 mil in places, guys. So that's the big difference here. And the fact that it is 7075, whereas this one is 6061. So can flex, can bend. You'll be hard pushed to actually bend one of these unless you're sending it stupidly big. But what a beautiful, beautiful looking chassis. Awesome. Well done, Vitavon. Right guys, so as you can see, truck is now standing on all 4 wheels. Now, while we're kind of with the side guard off, all the electrics loose here, I have got the motor mount and everything's all fixed in position. Make sure you're adding some Loctite to the motor mount as well, guys, because that can come loose. So anything metal to metal, as I always tell everyone on every single video, is make sure you're adding Loctite to metal. Metal to plastic, you don't need to bother. Right, now we've got access to that centre brace there and there, all right, and the side guard's off. It's a good time to do this. So I'm going to now replace those motor mounts, chassis braces, and get them into the vehicle. Quite an easy thing to do. Screw here, obviously 2.5mm on this side, and then this one's already loose, as I said. And then this one's already loose as well, but it won't actually move around because it's held down with this top plate here. But now is a good time to actually get in there. Now, once we've done that, then we'll start making sure all the electrics is in. Now, the bell crank, as you can see, it has got the older style bell crank in there at the moment. Single spring. So I probably will replace this with the Vitavon variant in a second. I did anticipate on actually picking up a Creighton EXB one, but yeah, in fact, I don't know. Do I just keep the bell crank for an upcoming build? I'm not going to surprise you with anything. Yeah, I probably will actually, because this is a steering I didn't really have an issue. So first things first, let's get these chassis braces back in.
Men med påtaglig närvaro dansar gruv.
Right, okay guys, so as you can see, chassis braces are in. Chassis is now in, electrics are all now installed. Every single screw is all done. And it's going to create so much more strength between the chassis and this whole triangulated strength here, there and there, is going to be vital to making sure this truck stays awesome. Now, look, as you can see, the composite ones haven't broken, but any sort of big jumps or anything like that, they're not going to last 2 seconds, especially with the thinner chassis. But as you can see, I'm not saying this is essential for everyone to do. I don't mean that in the slightest, okay? But if you want to kind of take your Big Rock to the next level, this is most definitely a good way of doing so. As you can see, there's the chassis, guys, all installed. All the screws in. I've added Loctite to all the screws. Side guards are on. Everything's looking neat and tidy. So next, we're going to concentrate on the hubs now. So we'll do the hubs front and rear. And yeah, I'm going to call this a day then. This is absolutely epic. Right guys, so we're going to get the hubs on now, all right? I have taken the wheel off on the front here, but the only thing is it does seem to be a lot of Loctite in there. So I'm going to use the old soldering iron trick. And what I mean by that is a little bit of heat applied. There's a 2.5mm screw inside the wheel hex. All right. The problem with that is, by the looks on things, Arrma has added a shed load, and I had this problem with the Creighton. A shed load of Loctite in there. So I'm going to use some heat by putting the soldering iron tip into the set screw. All right, and then warm that up enough that I can actually crack the Loctite. But if I was to try and do it with a driver, chances are I'm going to round that screw off. So it is what it is. We're going to get the hubs on then. Once that's all done, then I'll leave the wheels off and I'll show you everything all in one go. I'll see you in a second. So we're kind of at a halt here, guys, okay, and let me explain why. These front knuckles, I don't think are the right ones, because there's the standard ones that come off, okay? And as you can see, these ones are a lot thicker. Now, you're probably saying, yeah, but, you know, they'll still work. No, they won't. Where's the wheel hex? So there's no play in the drive shaft here, apart from that. Now when I put the wheel hex on, the issue I got is, see the stub axle poking out? So for me to actually get it in the right place would be there. So yeah, I'm going to have to speak to Vitavon about that, because that don't seem right. I will have a go at doing the rears, but for now, the fronts are going to have to stay on until I speak to Vitavon. Hi guys, so welcome back. I hope you like obviously what you see. Enjoyed putting this together so far. Massive thank you to Anthony, Arthur, and all the team at Vitavon, and also Arrma RC for the help with getting this build ready. I'm going to keep this as light as I possibly can. I'm not going to do the bulkheads or anything like that yet until any issues might transpire. That's the chassis. As you can see, one careful owner, never raced or rallied. It's a shame, mine, because obviously it's nice and straight. So that's a good thing. And also, we have the composite braces, definite upgrade there, definite upgrade. So obviously we've got the 7075 braces, and what that's actually done now is giving me triangulated strength, all facing towards the center of the chassis, everything, so it all pulls together and locks it all in. Glad to have that rear hub all sorted now. It was bothering me because that was the one that was on there, and I had to shim that out quite considerably to take up the gap between the bearing and the hub. What else? Method. Now these screwdrivers, as I mentioned, all right, I've been using these. I've been using the nut driver, the 5.5, the 2 and what was it, the 2 and the 2.5 today, no issues at all. The way on the head so far, this is a 5th car I've dismantled, and nothing at all, guys. Really, really nice drivers, these. One thing to mention here is there is a 2mm set screw in these. Get yourself a little bit of Loctite, just like if you're adding metal to metal on your car. Put a dab in there, tighten it up, and you're good to go. But yeah, nice and light on the end. Got a nice grip to them. That's one thing I'm noticing. And I do prefer the extra length there on the driver itself, because that, you know, if you're trying to get in certain places, that's kind of handy. So again, I'll put a link down below. And funny thing is, while I was out, while we were on time lapse, Method have sent over a set of the Terraforms on, what are they? What's the name of the wheel they're on? Switch wheels. So essentially, these are for the Mojave, but I'm going to put these on my SST. I think these will actually be really, really nice. So I will do a video on that as well, guys. I want to say a massive thank you to each and everybody who are obviously watching all the videos. Guys, I'm going to do a quick sort of arty-farty video for you, just showing you the chassis and everything before we leave. Guys, if you're enjoying all the videos, make sure you put a like on them. It means the world to me and costs you nothing. And subscribe. Again, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. I'm really, really chuffed that obviously you guys are coming along for the ride, and humbled. It is a humbling experience, this, because I started the channel with no aspirations and just thought, you know what, if I make a video, if some people watch it, brill. And as time goes by, the channel keeps progressing into something bigger and better, and it keeps going and going and going. And it's all down to you lot, all right? Because if you didn't want to watch your videos, there wouldn't be any point to any of this, would there? So massive thank you, guys, honestly. Right, till next time, guys. Check the box for more videos. I'll catch you later. Right, arty-farty video, and I'll give you the end credits. How's that? Yeah! Catch you later. Nice one.
We'll be right back.